Hello, everybody. I'm coming at you pink tonight. uh, and also in my robe. It's like about to turn 4 o'clock in the morning here. I'm very much a night owl. I would rather go to bed at 4 or 5 in the morning and sleep in until like 11. That's more my speed. And I've always kind of been this way. But I'm definitely in my cozies and I'm not going to have some perfect studio set up. And, this is how I plan on rolling. And, I do kind of like actually being able to like sit and chat with you guys, I don't really want to be just like this head popping out. I mean, it's hard. It's not the most flattering angle with the camera because it's lower than me, so it shoots you up. It's never a good look, but you know what? Who cares? Who gives a shit? It's not about that. And maybe that's a message that needs to come through for somebody out there, where are you holding yourself back, because you have these preconceived notions about uh, how you need to, have a certain presentation together before you can go after what, you want to grab in life, okay? Um, that's just nonsense, right? It's just nonsense. I know for me, with getting on YouTube and getting on video, period, I've always had a thing where I didn't even really like to have my photo taken. So going into video was really like, oh my God, no way, I have to do that, which you kind of do these days, If you're going to do your business online, you need to get comfortable having your face out there. And so that was a big adjustment for me. But it was really liberating the first time I did it. I had to go in front of uh, a community of a few 100,000 people, and I was totally ill prepared, and I had no idea what I was going to say, and I had no makeup on, and I wasn't looking my best that day, but I just did it. I just did it, for the sake of like moving through that fear. And I thought, if I can do that, then I can do anything. Then I can do anything on video. Who gives a shit? And I ended up really enjoying it. It's nice to be able to just come as you are, and share yourself in an authentic way. And I liked our last reading and the fact that I could like face you guys and talk with you. So I think we'll keep it this way. My setup will probably change a little bit over time, but I just wanted to drop in for a moment and say hello. And I got our candle to light, to call in the angel energy. And this time the candle was green. So, and it's interesting too, because even the light from, the neon sign is lighting her up green. You can't really see it from your angle, but from my side, she's really glowing green, which is kind of cool, and green is all about growth, right? We've been talking a lot about that. In this reading, we've been talking a lot about growth, doing that integration work. It's not about denying your shadow. It's not about denying your darker aspects, but it's about being able to transmute that energy where it becomes a medicine and not a place of dysfunction or destructive tendencies in your life. And when you're able to integrate that and you can fuse, the wisdom you've gained from resting in the darkness with your light, with your ashe, with your power, the vision you came here to bring forward into this life, then it just allows you to really root your visions, to understand the way that you can get in your own way. If you're aware of your tendencies, if you're aware of your shadow tendencies, then when you're about to sabotage yourself, right? And you can totally transform your life. That's what the whole point is of doing this growth work. It's not just to have the revelation, but to have it actually elevate you. And yeah, it's nice to think elevating spiritually, okay, and emotionally, mentally, moving into more expansion, but on a much deeper level than that, it's really about elevation of all of it, like rising your whole life up out of those kind of like limitations of the past and experiencing a whole new reality. Because you're totally like born new in the moment. That's what it's all about. That's what growth is all about. And that absolutely occurs in your material reality. If you have a consciousness that's all about lack and focused on disappointment and where you missed out on yours and you didn't get your fair share, I mean, how do you think you're going to do financially? How do you think your business is going to operate? Do you think you're going to be successful if you're not grateful, for every client that walks in your door, for every paycheck you get, for every gig you line up, if you don't really feel genuinely grateful for that? Are you really like aligning with that spirit of abundance in your life? Gratitude, like it opens so many doors. Gratitude puts you in an abundance frequency. So with that message coming in, I would just say with everything we've talked about, and we've talked about some heavy stuff in these readings. We're not done yet. I want to get into breakdowns for each sign. And that's what we're going to start in with this reading. I'm sure we won't finish it tonight, but I'm just going to go until I've, wrote out the energy and it feels like, yes, it's complete. And it's not there yet, okay? But I just wanted to bring in, that piece about gratitude. And we've been talking about like this reciprocity and what you value and how you invest your energy and how that's returning to you. The more that you can be in that spirit of like openness and letting go and not being in this stingy frequency, right? Okay? But just being open, and, serving where you can serve, like giving back where you can serve, it is just another beautiful offering and way to be in that reciprocal flow and be in harmony with the flow of life, So that piece just really wanted to come in. And we're going to light this candle. But before we do, I just grabbed it and pulled it over and it landed on community chest. And it says to follow instructions on top of the card. And I think that's funny because, we're talking about community, right? This is what we're talking about, community. And so I'm going to go ahead and see, like, what message do we got from the community chest over here? This is perfect. It says, bank error in your favor, collect $200. And what have we been talking about this whole time? That, let go, because it may look shitty on the surface. It may not look like what you thought it would look like. But how do you know that it might not be an unexpected blessing, right? Okay? And it's going to open up an abundance of new in your life that will elevate your experience and take you, a higher rung of the spiral. Aren't you ready for a new view? If you've been, struggling with things, aren't you ready for that? That's the thing with, letting go. It implies there's been a struggle. And as long as you don't let go, you're invested in the struggle. You're not invested in the solution. People don't understand that. They really misunderstand. So that is just, I just love that because it's such a perfect message to kind of like top off all that we were talking about. But I want to light this candle here and just call in Archangel Michael. Ted's here for this. Ted always likes to, yeah, you like to call in the angels, huh? Archangel Michael to surround this reading and all who are here to receive it with protection, with strength to stand in their truth, to feel supported, and to feel held in that love and that comfort of it being perfectly safe and supported for them to be true to who they are and to act from that place within themselves. Yeah, Ted. And also calling in Archangel Raphael to bring healing energy into this reading so that the messages come through in a way that supports everybody and integrating whatever they need to integrate and having come forward in their consciousness the medicine they need so they can have the courage to let go, to trust, to have faith. And also with it being, the wrapping up of Dias de los Muertos and this time of, the veil being at its thinnest, we're going to also just say thank you to all the ancestors who have been here and have joined us and have let their messages come through, and wish them blessings as they return to rest and let us put to use, the wisdom that they brought forward. So, when we last left off, we had just pulled out, that King of Wands and the fire sign energy. And that came through with the Four of Pentacles, which is all about security. And I want you to look at how they are guarding their security. Security is a big concern for them, right? And maybe fire signs have been worried about their finances, Maybe there's been some challenges financially. Maybe things have been a little tight. I definitely could see that being a piece of this puzzle, okay? But also there's this part of look at the protection and where that particular pentacle is being held over their heart, right? Like a shield almost. And we've been doing a lot of talk about receiving, and this Knight of Wands came in, Knight of Wands. He hasn't shown up yet. Watch him show up now. This King of Wands, came in on the tail of both that Knight of Pentacles, which is the slow moving energy with a solid offer, and something you can stand on, which can be a financial offer too, and also the Knight of Cups, which is an emotional offer, all right? So pairing those together, the Knight of Pentacles with the Knight of Cups, it's an emotional offer that provides security, stability, something you can really count on. And it also shows a graduation of energy, okay? We were just talking about that, like leveling up, evolving the energy, going to that higher rung of the spiral. Well, now the Knight's no longer a knight. Now the Knight's a fucking king, okay? He's starting to really step in his power. So what we really see here is that Emperor card came up, right? Let's pull that out. That Emperor card, I know he's here. Here he is. Aries energy. Doesn't have to be Aries though, but would definitely run, that kind of Aries energy. Remember, with the major arcana, they're archetypal energies. Anybody can embody them, but it is Aries energy, Mars energy, okay? So what's happening is, just like the Empress is all four queens, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles embodied and rooted, aligned with all the elementals, including Akasha spirit. Okay? So it is with the Emperor. Okay? He is the embodiment of the King of Swords, the King of Wands, the King of Cups, the King of Pentacles. Now we've had the King of Wands show up. And so far, I believe that's the only king we've had come up on the board, at least in this section of the reading. So, you know, there's still a few more kingly energies to get, because this is the journey. This is the journey for fire signs right now. They're in a period of bossing up in their life, and that's not just bossing up in terms of financially and what they're building for themselves, like career-wise, okay? But it's also bossing up, you know, emotionally. They don't want to be a player no more. And why did I say that? Why did I say they don't want to be a player no more? Because when I pulled out that Four of Pentacles, it came out with the World. You know? Normally, you know, a King of Wands is kind of like relationships they could give or take. You know, they're fine. They're fine being a player, you know, but it's hard out on these streets for a player these days. And they're wanting a little something they can count on. They want a little sugar they can count on. They want a little nurturing they can count on. This is what fire signs are wanting, you know? And don't get stuck on it's a king, okay? Because if you're abroad watching this reading, you know, for you if you're abroad, you know, you probably, you know, you're not a little lilting flower, so you can definitely hold that more kind of like, you know, you can hold your own, right? So think about how these energies can express themselves. So yeah, you know, this is like an ending to kind of like that Knight of Wands, that King of Wands energy, you know, that the impulses, it's matured beyond the Knight of Wands, okay? And even though the King of Wands can be on his own and be completely fine with that, completely happy with that. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you know, they don't necessarily need to have a commitment, like a solid commitment. It's not necessarily always in their nature. All right? That's just the fiery nature, you know, to want to move, to want to transform, to kind of thrive off of change and transformation. It's just sort of it's the work they came into this life to do, you know, to be the transformers, to always be born anew, to constantly be rising like the phoenix out of the ashes. Like that's how they roll, okay? And they like excitement and playfulness. I mean, this is just the energy of the fire signs. And wherever you have fire placements in your chart, you know, have a look at it. See where you have any of those placements in your chart, what house they fall in, you know, because it makes a difference. Like, for example, I'm a Libra, okay? I'm a Libra stellium. I got Libra rising, and I got like 5 planets in Libra that are all in the first house. Well, the first house is the house of Aries, all right? So I run a lot of Aries energy, and actually my Mars is in Libra in the first house in Aries. So I got Aries ruler there in my chart, in my placement. So, you know, that has an effect. If there's a message coming through for Aries, you know, it speaks to me too. And it's the same with you. So I really encourage people, like, go and get your chart done. It's free, you know. You can go to astrodints.com and put in your information for free, and it'll lay it all out for you. Even if you don't know how to read a chart, it'll tell you what placements you have where. They tell you where you even have your asteroids. And then when you tune in for readings like this, you'll be able to understand the information on a whole other level, you know? So yeah, you know, and this coming in with the world, I see this as like, it's an end of being worried about security because they're going to create that security for themselves, not just financially, but emotionally. And we know this because there's an offer coming in that's not just tangible, related to, you know, business acumen and the success of their enterprises, but it's also connected to an emotional beginning that's solid, right? That's commitment. Okay, so I do see that things are taking a turn in that direction for fire signs, and it looks like a financial upswing too. But the point I was making is this is the journey you all are on. You're being asked to level up. That's fire signs work right now. Level up. You know, use your fire to transform and to burn away the shit that's holding you back in life from having what you want to have. It's time. Like, it's time to step into your power and really let yourself be seen for what you have to offer. You know, it's your time to boss up in your life, you know, and make that shit happen for yourself and go out and get yours, you know. And you have everything you need to make it happen. You have everything you need to create that security for yourself. It looks like good, you know, financial opportunity coming in. And also, you know, emotional blessings and, you know, relationships that are stable, not fly by the seat of your pants. And we all know, you know, those fire signs, they'll always have a fondness for those days. You know, but you get older and you want a quieter life, you know. So those of you that are a little bit younger, you know, you may not, you know, want to slow down on that level, but I do feel like there's a serious, you know, some kind of serious relationship coming in. You might get caught up and fall in love. Oh no. Oh, that's interesting. The devil. Right as I said that, the devil showed up. Okay, well, you know, look at this card though. This is a very, very saucy card. Okay, this is a very sensual card. So let's remember the devil isn't only about, you know, being tied to something, you know, being suppressed by something, having something rule over you. It's very interesting if you'll notice in this devil card, it's not that he has her chained. Like, he's not ruling over her. Look, they're both shackled. That's like commitment. And they're sitting on, look at that. It almost looks like a dowry chest, right? He's got an apple in his hand. And she's all saucy. Look at her in her garters. Like, they look like they're just enjoying themselves. Okay? So I think that this, you know, connection that's going to be coming in for you all, for you fire signs, it's like some saucy, it's like some saucy action, you know? You did have that Ace of Wands, you know, and that's some some big D energy there. So you might be having some fun. Just because you're in, you know, a serious relationship doesn't mean it can't be spicy too. It absolutely can. And I would also say, you know, do be aware of your tendency to sabotage yourself too from having what you really want. You know, sometimes people do that. They have a fear of really going deep with somebody. because this feels very vulnerable, it's sort of easier to just kind of like hop in and out of, different people's beds and have real casual connections, and that can be fun for a while, I guess. It's never been my thing, but to each their own. But most get tired of it after a while, and certainly if you're older, it gets a little old. You want something that's going to run a little deeper, somebody that you can really have like a partner in crime, right? Somebody who's got your back and that you can count on. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be, boring. It can be playful. It can be a delight, right? So I think this connection is going to be very delightful, and actually is what I'm getting is it's going to shake up fire signs' ideas of what it means to be in a committed relationship. It doesn't have to be a thing where you feel like you're stuck, And a card flew on the floor, so I always see that as something that needs attention. Yeah, it was the moon. Okay, it was the moon. So double message, Look at your subconscious motives when it comes to relationships. And I just want to say again, I've said it before in the intro to my channel, this is not a channel for kids, okay? So if you're under 18, you shouldn't be here, because I'm going to be talking about shit that you shouldn't be listening to if you're not an adult, all right? And please respect that boundary. But, with the moon, you have to think about, in love, what are your subconscious impulses and where do they come from, okay? So if you're somebody who really wants love, right? And you want that security, but yet you're kind of going out and having a lot of superficial connections with people. What is that really about? What is that really about? What is the driving force behind that? If what you're really wanting is, if you're wanting, a true partner to stand by your side, and you're looking for that loyalty, So you have to look at, why do you sometimes feel the impulse to just keep it casual? To have your options open? What fear is actually behind that? Because it is a distraction. To constantly keep your options open is a distraction. Where do those fears come from? Of going really deep with somebody, really going beneath the surface and connecting on a soul level, right? A lot of fear can come up, when people are wanting to get real in relationship and connecting with other people. A lot of fear can come up. And sometimes, you can sabotage connections too by unaddressed shadow aspects that you haven't looked at, kind of like take the reins and then steer things off course. Because you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop when the shoe is never going to drop at all, And we all do it. We've all done it, But this is just coming up for, for fire signs. It's a pretty strong message. Moon is also, Pisces energy too, has a connection with the moon, right? And Pisces is all about like the subconscious, that, ability to dive into that fluidity, all right? And that's what we really need at this time, because people are having a lot of challenges with the current astrology and everything that's happening. We're about to wrap up with that eclipse on the 19th. It's the culmination of a cycle that began back in May. And a lot of it has to do with what we value, and do we feel valued, and is there reciprocation in our connections, and how are we communicating with each other, and how do we be individuals, how do we be in our autonomy, and how do we feel that we're fulfilled while still honoring the places in our lives where we meet up with others and they have their own ideas of what that looks like, okay? So, just understand that you can't look at things in a superficial way. Understand yourself better, and as you do, you'll understand others better too. And that everybody is just kind of sorting through, their activation when they feel vulnerable. Connecting with somebody on a soul level is a very, very vulnerable experience. Okay? So be aware, the ways that, the devil is tricky energy too. Okay? It's trickster energy. And it's kind of like coyote medicine, right? The coyote it'll play tricks on you and have you chasing your own tail, going around in circles when you never had anything to worry about in the first place. Because you got 4 of Wands coming. That's the security. That's the happy home, happy family. Whatever that looks like for you. Everybody has a different idea of what that looks like. But this is a stable home, committed relationship, joy, celebration. It's the 1111 card. A true divine blessing and divine connection. So all we're missing in this read is